Inside of Beaumaris Gaol in Wales, there is a terrifying and haunting prison cell which was used to torture and terrorise prisoners who were locked up there. This cell was so dangerous that it was secured by not one, not two, but three doors, and the inmate inside would be plunged into complete darkness. Throughout the Victorian period, there were changes to the prison system in England, but there were also dark and disturbing parts which remained. Just outside in the courtyard, for example, in that jail, was a whipping room, where inmates were smashed with whips and birching rods, and they would scream out. I went into the Victorian Prison's punishment cell and experienced what it would have been like to spend some time inside of there, and believe me, it was rather traumatic. To support our channel, please click subscribe. Beaumaris Gaol was built in 1829, but during the Victorian period, it saw hundreds of people locked up within the walls of the site. It was expanded, and inside are some terrifying cells. The rooms themselves were rather small and could be overcrowded, but there were specific parts of the prison which were solely used for punishment. On the upper floor there is a condemned cell, where someone would be held before their execution would take place, in solitary confinement conditions, and there was no chance of escape. There was at the end of the corridor, where the condemned cell was, a bridge that would take someone to the gallows, where they would then be executed in public. But if a prisoner misbehaved, then they would either be whipped or, more seriously, would be sent to the punishment cell. The prison staff utilised this small prison in the corner of the bottom floor to help them maintain law and order, and the prisoners became fearful of this room. Prisoners would be sentenced to a brief spell in the darkness and isolation of the room for breaching the prison's rules, not for their crimes they committed on the outside. There was a misconduct book for the prison, and it shows that many prisoners were confined to this cell. Any breach of the rules could land someone in the punishment cell. Failing to work, swearing or insolence could be dealt with in this way. Mary Davies, a young teenage prisoner, was punished for insolence within the punishment cell, and the prisoners would be locked up in the room for up to 3 days on a diet of just dry bread and water. The original punishment cell was used to begin with in daytime only and was not darkened, but later it was converted to be used as an isolation and dark cell. Someone would be plunged into complete darkness. Shall we see how bad it is? Let's do a test. Right, go on. Go on. Now that short test showed me how terrifying and dark that room really was. Someone would be kept in the dark for sometimes days on end, and they would lose track of time. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. There is an account from a former prisoner written in 1862 of this punishment cell. The inmate says, and I quote, "The officer who accompanied us threw back one of the doors, which turned as heavily on the hinges and gave 4 of the same hollow sounds as a massive door of an iron safe. The interior which it revealed was absolutely and literally pitch dark. Not a thing was visible in the cell. Would you like to step inside?" asks the warder, "and see how dark it is when the door is closed?" We entered the terrible place with a shudder, for there is something intensely horrible in absolute darkness to all minds, confess it or not as they may. And as the warder shut the door upon us, and we felt the cell walls shake and moan again like a tomb, as he did so, the utter darkness was, as Milton says, visible. The eyes not only saw, but also felt the absolute negation of their senses in such a place. Let them strain their utmost, not one luminous chink or crack could their sight detect. Indeed, the very air seemed as impervious to vision as so much black marble. and the body seemed to be positively encompassed with the blackness, as if it were buried alive deep down in the earth itself. Now that was the experience of someone who went inside the punishment cell and experienced exactly the same darkness that I felt in exactly the same room. You literally cannot see your hand in front of your face. It's that dark and it's that terrifying. Of course, I was only in there for a matter of seconds, but being plunged into complete pitch black darkness for hours would have been cruel and terrifying. You certainly did not want to be locked up inside the punishment cell inside of Beaumaris' Victorian Prison. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.